Mr. Romero, for what purpose?
Does the gentleman yield for questions?
Does the gentleman yield for questions?
Yes, I do.
The gentleman yields.
Thank you,
Yes,
Mr. Speaker. Representative Olcott, so in this process, as you understand it, to continue with Representative Anchia's point, do you believe that this is not being done today?
I don't know because we haven't seen a report yet. I'm just making sure that it is going to be done.
So you haven't seen a report, but yet you stand here asking for it, so you don't know if this is being done correctly or not. Do you know how the process works?
I don't know the details.
So are
But I do know that this simply instructs hospitals that are providing uncompensated care at the expense of the taxpayer, that they should simply be able to report to us how much it's costing us. Because a lot of these small hospitals are suffering because of overwhelming costs. And I'll give you an example. Back when I spent some time at the border near Falfurrias back in 2006, an emergency room, the only emergency room in the area actually had shut down. And the reason I was told was because they were overrun by illegal aliens and they went out of business. And so little children in that area in Falfurrias now had to drive 2.5 hours to Corpus Christi to get emergency care. That's not right. And I think most people in this chamber should be concerned about the fact that in small rural areas, this is a huge burden to these small hospitals.
Okay, so you heard that from someone at the hospital, but yet just a moment ago you said you didn't have any data, you didn't have a report.
That was a report that I
let me ask
observed. That is one of the reasons I became passionate about this. This happened back in 2006. Sir.
Who is going to be asking these questions? And if someone that's a patient, at what point do they ask this question? And are they required to reveal that they're here documented or not? And does that mean that every person that goes into a county hospital is now going to be asked this question, including U.S. citizens like myself?
Yes, so these hospitals have standard.
The gentleman's time has expired.
Mr. Speaker, gentlemen, well, motion to extend.
Motion to extend. Is there any objection? Chair hears none. Extended.
Mr. Olcott, at what point is a patient in a hospital asked about their status?
When patients go into hospital, they have a form to fill out, and this is simply going to be one additional question asked on that form. It doesn't deny care to anyone.
Is it mandatory that they actually fill out 100% of that form in order for them to receive care?
I do not believe there's anything in the requirements that says they're not going to receive care.
So what makes you believe that this information would be correct?
It's simply doing our best to obtain data on how much
So
of a
if
problem
I
this
go
is.
into the hospital and don't fill out that question, what happens to the data? It's incorrect.
I'm assuming that eventually, and I've got a bill working its way through the legislature, hopefully, that will actually address that.
You expect to pass a bill?
That's a very good question, sir. But I'm doing what I can because the people that sent me here, immigration was the #1 issue. The border security was the #1 issue. And so I'm doing what I can. These bills have not gotten a hearing yet. So I'm doing what I can for issues that are very, very important to most Texans.
And you
this
understand,
is something I feel passionate about.
Representative Olcott, the point that I'm making to you is I, as a U.S. citizen, if I choose not to complete that form 100%, that data is skewed. So regardless of your point in receiving this data, do you understand that because I'm not forced to complete it, your data is not going to be correct?
This legislation that this mimics has passed in Florida about 2 or 3 years ago, and it's working very effectively. And then we have not.
So
seen any
we
problems.
do what Florida does in Texas.
No, it's just one of the beauties of our country is that we are a nation of states, and it's like a little experiment where we can look at what works in other states and what does not work in states. And when something works really well in another state, I think we should seriously consider adopting it here. We don't have to do what any other state does, but we can use other states as models to pass good legislation. And I think that's what this does.
Representative Olcott, you mentioned Falfurrias and the people there and the kids there. Did they give you a number of the unfunded care, and did you file a rider to protect those kids?
Just so you know, You might
Is
have
that a yes or
misunderstood
that's
me.
a yes? That's yes or
didn't-
no.
Yeah, I didn't. This was not from a conversation with the hospital. This was from local residents. I was told.
So
this.
you didn't. Okay. So you didn't even go into the hospital.
No, the hospital no
So
longer
you believe
existed.
everything that people tell you in your community, sir?
Actually, one of my jobs as a representative is actually to collect information. And no, I don't. Do you actually do that? Do you actually go around and ask when
Are
your
you asking
constituents-
questions, sir?
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.